What's good, YouTube? I'm happy to be back with another video for you guys. It's Julian, your intuitive introvert, giving power to the people. Yeah. So, today's message is about the fight and flight and how manipulative people use it to extract supply, basically. So, what you need to understand first is that everything that happens in the physical realm in this world first happens in a spiritual world, in a psychological world. And this is not supernatural BS what I'm saying. It means that any product you see in the world, first somebody had a vision about it, okay? If you say I want to make a cap with a black sheep on it, somebody had a vision to make it, and then, it was first in the spirit, in the mind, and then it manifested, okay? And the same applies to everything. So this is why visions are so powerful ideas. But the problem is this can also be used to destroy things, right? So, and the thing is this: what is fight and flight? Fight and flight is a response, and it goes back to our ancestors, because when we get in a stressful situation, it's good to be in a complicated environment. It's good to put yourself out there, because our body, our mind, our whole DNA is made to succeed. It's made to survive. And we are that torch, that front line. We are the chosen one of the chosen one, The seed that succeed has been chosen. And this has gone over a long period of time. And also we have all the adaptation to the world. We are surviving machines. Our brain, all the information, our body is made to interact with the world. And we're getting boosts. Okay, so when we see a challenge, when we see a problem, when we're faced with a cold environment, with a hot environment, with a dry environment, with whatever kind of environment, we need to use our brain and our body to survive the situation. This is what we're made for. And hormones will help us. So when we see a challenge and we successfully master the challenge, our hormones will reward us. Yes, but when we are in a constant stress and we don't see a way out, then this is like a positive challenge that turns negative, because we don't see the solution, we don't solve the problem, which results in, or could result in, less self-confidence, which results in, wait a second, I gotta pause, which results in less creativity, less spirit, less willpower, and this becomes a negative spiral. So you spiral towards less energy, less hope, when you are too long in a fight and flight situation without a solution. And this is what people can use against you, which means, let's say you're in a status quo. So you live in a great life, both in spirit and in the world. This will attract envious people. They gather around you, they idealize you, they weasel their way in your life, and then they start plotting on you, because when they realize they can extract from you that grade A supply, they will take it for granted. And at some point they want to switch positions with you, because they think they can carry that crown, they can walk in that shoes, and so on. And then one by one, when you stay authentic, or you're waking up to that truth, and you don't let them play these games on you, one by one will switch up. You will be black sheep, scapegoated. The dysfunctional family will close the doors. One by one will switch up on you. And what has happened? You know, what happened is, by multiple gaslightings, all the enablers, most of the times there is a narcissistic head or whatever kind of head that really orchestrates all this. And they have all the army of flying monkeys and enablers around them. And so there are multiple people who will gaslight you, confuse you, and you will get into that fight and flight situation where you're mentally brought into deeper and deeper troubles. The thing is, Richard Grannon said it on a YouTube short, when you're exposed to dysregulated people like borderline, covert narcissist, psychopath, whatever, it's all the same spirit, right? When you're around these people, they project all their trauma because they're walking in these cycles of repeating the same story again and again, which is basically the definition of insanity, right? They don't change their behavior because they're so grandiose, there's nothing to improve on them, which lets them keep on projecting, repeating the same behavior in their lives, going through the same circles. And when they do this and you're around them, your own trauma will also surface, and all kinds of physical diseases can show up, like autoimmune diseases or other physical problems show up because, as I told you, first it's in the mental, in the spirit, and then it comes into the world. It shows even in the body of people. And it's not a joke. Many people never recover when they were exposed to the wrong people for too long. So we're coming back to the fight and flight syndrome, right? It's made to adapt to the world. It's a healthy hormone feedback system. But narcissists, to say it with one word, I don't always want to repeat all the diagnosis, criteria, DSM-5, whatever, I don't care. Toxic people, they do everything a normal person does, but on a pathological level. And this means they use this fight and flight, but they don't play it fair. They don't put themselves, they don't invest themselves. They always win, you know, whether you love them, whether you hate them, whether you're in pain or in joy, they always extract something from it, okay? When you're in joy, they say, oh, this is my, you know, they will harvest this joy and say, oh, this is me, you know, this is me. Or when you're in pain, they will extract sadistic supply, or they also can get kind of excited and aroused, like almost a blood rush of a hyena when she licks blood. So when they sense a rare, strong emotional response of another human being, or let's say of a real human being, they get very excited about this, okay? And this is why they want to destabilize the environment. They thrive in chaos, confusion, trauma, drama, whatever. And again, the goal is to put you into the mental state of fight and flight all the time. You will feel this when you come home to this so-called home. It's not your home. Also, your so-called family, it's not your family. You will feel it when you go there. Your heart rate rises because you feel like there is nobody really your friend, and you invest in everybody. You try to help everybody. You gave everything. You invested fully, but nobody invests in you. Nobody cares. And at some point, this drains everybody. And you get into the fight and flight situation. Your cortisol levels will rise because you can't get rid of the adrenaline, because there's nobody to confront. They are cowards, you know, they are manipulative chameleons. There will be many faces. Each person has many faces, and you have to understand every one of them is the same person. It's the same spirit. They just play in a game. Anyway, what you need to do is get out of there, save yourself. When you are out of this situation, you already have won, because your heart and your soul, that's all there is. That's all there is. When you save yourself, your body, your health, your mental state, you know, it will be a lot of healing work. But when you're out, you already won. But this is where the fight begins, and this is the core message of today. I want to tell you that already 10 minutes, man. I just can't make short messages. The thing is, you need to be calm and regulated or relaxed and basically being well to fight efficiently. Iron in the Soul, the YouTube creator Iron in the Soul, he just recently said about Bruce Lee that Bruce Lee said the calmest person in the room is the most dangerous, okay? And what do you think why the samurai Ronin Miyamoto Musashi won all his 63 duels in his life? He was completely calm, and he did not let other people get under his skin, manipulate his emotions, and let him get into anger, rage, anxiety, sadness, grief, grudge, whatever. He just goes in centered and being calm, basically. And this is the flow state, the mushin. And you need to get to that point again, which means your spirit has been pushed into a constant fight and flight situation. You can check out your trauma responses, whether it's PTSD or CPTSD. Also, when you go through narcissistic abuse, it can be that you have in some places similar traits to the people who abused you. But this video is not about this in particular. But it's very enlightening to check out trauma responses and see what kind of trauma responses you did. There are these 4 main categories, and they can also be separated in a response that is leading out of the situation or a response that is self-destructive. And you should always be on the side of the response that solves the situation, which means no contact, walking away, installing boundaries, and so on. Now, we said we need calmness, serenity, inner peace to be able to get into our full power potential. And to do this, healing work is needed. And this goes for years, okay? This can go years. But it's absolutely necessary to be able to stand up with your full power. And the thing is, think about what fight could you win when you're hysteric, when you're angry, when you can't sleep, when you're dysregulated yourself. No fight, not a physical one, not in court. You will also have the smear campaign working out against you then, because they will tell, oh, you're crazy, you're the victim, they will show themselves as the victims. They will say victim blame you, so they will blame you that everything that happened is your blame. And when you're then acting crazy, aggressive, then this is just supporting the smear campaign, okay? The best thing about the smear campaign is you have to use it to find out who's really on your side. In most cases, it will turn out nobody is on your side. And you need this to heal, to cut contact with everybody who is not on your side. You need to understand manipulative people will use any person that has contact to you, you give information to against you. But you don't do the same thing, which means the person would have to pick sides. And you cannot demand this of a person. So you need to cut contact to everybody, because the people will be abused without knowing. They will be flying monkeys without knowing they are flying monkeys. Okay? Now, the core message: you need to be in peace, in calmness, serenity, and regulation. So you don't talk like a crazy person, like a dysregulated person. But, you know, this game is always a long-term game. It's a long run, okay? And you can win the long run. You can never win against manipulative, narcissistic, psychopathic people in the short term. They always make high-risk decisions, short-term rewards, instant gratification. And this is why they spiral towards self-destruction, but they have the moments, okay? And they also have this boldness at times, which means they pretend that everything is fine for them, and they have the support of all the people. But this is a very fragile, superficial picture, and below this surface there's all kinds of power struggles and anxiety and insecurity going on. Okay, so don't be intimidated by psychopathic boldness, okay, and by superficial pictures. The more desperate they get, the more they lie openly, and the more the facade begins to show the truth, what is beneath it, okay? So the most important thing really is just focus on yourself if you can. But there are situations where you are forced, because you have still invested time and money in this. Maybe you are co-parenting, whatever it is, to force you to fight on, even though you have already won because you saved yourself. You need to cultivate your unique human traits. You're a person that has principles. You're a person that is living, following principles, virtues, moral and ethical codes. And this is why you will win in the long term, okay? And when you have shaken off the fight and flight mode in your mental state, it is possible that through the aftermath of that, what you have gone through the process, you are now in a physical fight and flight situation, which means your life has become difficult. When you break out of a coercive control situation, your life will be difficult, because these people try to make you homeless, addicted. They will sabotage your job opportunities and do everything to feel better than you are. Okay, so this is weird, and you need external education to understand this, because a healthy human being like you would never do this or assume that other people would do something like that. But it turns out this is reality, okay? So this is why you need external education, and I am giving this to you right now. So again, you need to understand, you was right all the time. You have won already. You have already, hopefully, defeated the fight and flight state of your body. You need to normalize cholesterol levels. I recommend to give your whole body chemistry, a hard reset. I give you the goal now. The goal is, and you can't do it all in one day probably, or in, all at once. The goal is no substances for 1 year or longer. Nothing, no alcohol, no smoking, no nothing that could regulate your emotions. You go monk mode. You can do, when you're a man, semen retention, sexual abstinence for a year straight. All these things will give you an extreme boost of energy and healing power. If you can afford the time and the money, of course, go to therapy. But there's a lot of mistakes you can do. When you're coming out of narcissistic abuse, this is a very special kind of abuse, and you need to do certain things before you go blindly to therapy, because it could be the narcissist has permanently changed your inner structure and you're working based on that. You should not work based on that. First, you need to attend the information of Sam Vaknin or Richard Grennan, what you have to do before you do the therapy. Otherwise, you're going as a zombie, as a narcissistically abused zombie, to therapy, which will get you into a state you don't want to be in. Okay? Now, the message is defeat the fight and flight response in the mental. We want no high cholesterol levels. We want healthy levels of all the hormones and reward systems in the body, which is the dopamine and the cannabinoid and other blood chemistry levels. We want to be able to sleep no matter what we think about, and no matter how the day was. We want to get all these powers back, okay? And when you did that, your life might still be tough because you're then still fighting in a physical way, but you need the inner peace and serenity no matter what happens. Because these people, again, they want to scare you by their boldness. They want you to stay in the low vibration, because you need to understand, these people operate from insecurity, from fight and flight mode. They project it. This is their daily life content. They feel like they have to fight all the time. They don't want peace, okay? So, what can I say? What can I say? Get yourself the positivity you need. You alone can take care of yourself. Look at this. When was the last time somebody was really concerned about you? Somebody was taking care of you. Somebody really was free of any hidden intention to extract, to get something out of you. Think about that. This is why self-care, self-healing is important. I told you, go full monk mode. Recover, remember who you really were, and cultivate that. You get sharper by this, okay? Because you were gaslit. Why could the narcissist gaslight you? Because you were like, well, I think it's the right thing to be righteous, to be helping people, to be kind, to be empathetic. Yeah, you were right. This is the right thing. But you learned a lot, right, about how to keep your guard up. Now, you get sharper by this, believe me. You get stronger and sharper if you do everything right. But if you do it wrong, you'll be annihilated, okay? So don't take it easy, but get your peace. Because this is what you need. When you're in the middle of something, when they start to gaslight you again, when they think they get away with what they have done, if you want to step in your purpose and get what is yours, you need to be in peace. Because only in peace, the people around you will see who is who in this game. Okay? So I wish to you a lot of goodness, a lot of sunlight, a lot of rain, and educate yourself about the psychological part of narcissism, psychopathy, borderline, whatever. Educate yourself about spiritual warfare, and don't let nobody deceive you.